Did any political leadership in Israel ever want to can Jacob Frenkel?
I'm sure that every day, everywhere, political leaderships want to.
But it's gotten messy, hasn't it?
Well,
right
the
now?
important point is that central bank's credibility is so high today and has been the best protection of central bank policies. And that's why when everyone is still engaged with extinguishing the fires of the crisis of today, central banks are enshrined in not only dealing with the fires of yesterday, but also securing the stability that is so important for growth and development.
The common theme here of Lyndon Baines Johnson and McChesney Martin in the 60s as well, I need growth, I need inflation, I need the economy to pop. That's exactly the language we would hear from President Trump. Why do politicians want that when there's so many smart guys like you around saying, no, you can't have the punch bowl 24/7, 10 years in a row?
And indeed, the test of a good central banker is that he can take the punch bowl away before the party gets going. It is indeed the inclination of politicians to have a short-run benefit, but occasionally those short-run benefits are coming at very high cost in the long run. And the best way that central banks can contribute to growth is by lengthening the horizon, by securing stability in the financial system and in the price area.
But when can they take the punch bowl away? It seems like this is, the carrot, but actually it's never coming because the economy's ups and downs. Have we actually missed a window? And I'm especially thinking of the European Central Bank.
Well, one of the key points that we have learned is that being the only game in town is a mixed blessing. In fact, it has become a curse. And since the crisis, the only game in town have been the central banks. They have been overburdened, and before long, they looked around and said, hey, where are my troops? They are gone. Governments need to wake up. It is time for not only fiscal policy, but also what we call in the jargon structural policies, which in short mean making the economy more flexible and contributing to productivity and growth. So yes, it's not an issue of lowering interest rates. Right. Interest rates are as low as they could ever be.
But this is not going to get easier because actually politicians who have always wanted to be reelected also now realize that they have the populace to contend with. So the more they're tough on reforms, the more they lose their job quickly.
This may be the case, but if I look, for example, two examples. Look at the head of Germany, Schroeder, who did very, very tough measures. He paid political price, and Germany was booming thereafter. Even in Israel, when Prime Minister Netanyahu was at the time Minister of Finance, he did the tough policies, was very unpopular, paid political price, and the economy was booming. So I really think that at the end of the day, you need to be a statesman, and a statesman needs to ask not how am I re-elected, but how can I improve the state of the economy if it is in the economic sphere.
So the Israeli elections are a couple of days away. We cannot mention polls. We were discussing it last night. What are the nuances of these elections that markets don't understand?
Well, the short answer is a very technical one. There are many, many small parties that may not cross the threshold that is needed in order to enter. If they don't cross the threshold, the votes that went to them are gone. And therefore, when you do public opinion polls, which you are not allowed now anymore, you have to take into account that many of the votes may be gone. So paradoxically, those parties that will not be elected into parliament, into our Knesset, may be those that will decide on the balance between the center-right and the center-left government.
We're going to be going to the IMF meetings in Washington. They put out those fancy books, and one is the Green Book, which is on financial stability as well. What's the tail risk right now? As Jacob Frenkel synthesizes all of the economics into that risk that's out on the left tail, how malleable is that right now? How flexible is it right now?
Financial stability is key, and that's the main lesson from the crisis which we now commemorate, I will not say celebrate, the 10th anniversary or so. Traditionally, it was said that central banks need to focus on price stability. We have learned that financial stability is as important, and it is relevant today. And the reason is that the more you push interest rates down, you have the illusion that you stimulate the economy, but you also make the financial system more vulnerable. People ask, where is the inflation? You have printed and printed and printed. We don't see it in the CPI, in the Consumer Price Index, but you do see it in the financial markets. And if your financial markets are growing on soft land, they will be more fragile. That's why it is so important to strengthen the financial system. You know, the most important key test for a strong economy is the strength of its financial system, because that's the element that can derail prosperity.